We're going to continue talking about some editing tools. Let's talk about the scissors tool and the eraser tool. So over here, I've changed the variable width profile of my stroke on this path. And what happened was, you could see on this side, each foot or part of my so I've got this part and this part, and these are the feet of the penguin, and then this part. But the leg and one part of the foot flipper, webbed feet, is connected here, and that's why it's looking a bit weird. So what I could do, I can arrange these, but if I wanted to actually disconnect this path from the other path, because right now they're connected, so if I wanted to disconnect them, I could do two things. So let's look at this in more detail. This foot leg is the same way. Say I want it why would I want to do this? So maybe I don't want this tapered edge up here. Maybe I want the leg to be thicker and uniform while the feet have the tapered edges, right? So if I wanted to make this guy a little bit more solid in the legs, or even change the color of the leg, because I can't change the color of the leg here without, then I'd have to make everything that same color too. So there could be many reasons why you want to separate something that is a path that's connected with an anchor point and make them just two separate paths. So this is really simple. I just need to select whatever I need to edit, take the scissors tool, which is C on your keyboard, and I'm just gonna, I could just click on that anchor point and it's going to separate those two. I could also, yeah, I have to click on that anchor point. Let's try it in here. So it doesn't have to be on an anchor point. It could really be anywhere in your path. And what I'm doing is, if I take the selection tool, which is V, and I select that, I've cut it, divided the path. But I need to do it right here. Now that I have this, I could take this one, let's remove this one, let's put that one in there, and let's get this guy. So now this might fit my needs better. Maybe I want to make it uniform, maybe I want it to be a little thicker, and then I could kind of arrange these feet around. So I'm zooming in, Command or Control plus. So this might help me a little bit more. And maybe I decide that I do want this stroke profile to, you know, you can change that accordingly, but that might help you in your process. Another thing you can use is the eraser tool, which is very simple. It's Shift E. The cool thing about the eraser tool is it kind of works like a brush, and this is the size of it. If you can't see this, make sure well, it works if caps lock is on. So you've got two bracket keys on your keyboard. The right one is going to make the eraser bigger, and the left one is making it smaller. So I could actually erase certain things here. And maybe I can do some, let's put this back to uniform, and then under basic, which is the brush definition, I'm gonna make this the touch calligraphic brush. You can go in here and there's a bunch of other brushes, but let's just use this basic one for now. And I can use the eraser on here. I have to select it. See how it doesn't really change the shape, right? It's always gonna have, what you're doing is you're affecting the stroke. So this is not a shape. If I wanted to make this a shape, I would go to Object, Path, Outline my stroke. So what we have is an anchor point, a path, and another anchor point. And what you see is the brush that's connected to that path. If I outline the stroke, it's going to change the stroke. And now look at the coloring here. We've got a fill with no stroke. So it made the stroke into a shape. So now if I use the eraser tool with my shape, I'm actually going to be digging in to that shape and erasing the fill in there. So that's another way that you can kind of edit your work and create different shapes. If I wanted to change specifically certain areas of this beak, I might go and use, I could go in here and kind of adjust this and kind of go in there and make the beak a little bit more specific to the shape that I want. And what's interesting and nice is that it kind of smooths out things as you go. Oops. So I can kind of work with it a little bit. So that's kind of a little bit of editing. I took a pretty geometric shape and cut into it with the eraser tool in order to get a little bit more variety in the shape itself. If I need to go in here and like adjust these anchor points that are making the beak a little more jagged looking, I can take the pen tool, and if I just click on this anchor point, there's like a little minus looking sign next to that anchor point, so it's just going to get rid of the anchor point, which is getting rid of the little lump there. So that's one way you can kind of clean up or adjust your work to make it a little more specific to what you're making.